Apologies in advance. Last week I totally forgot to do the whole giveaway, but we'll get straight to that this week. Hey, I'm Alex Ratcliffe from Board Game Co, and this is Board Game News, Week in Review, Catch Up, all the usual things. We'll go ahead and dive into all of that. But first, like I said already, we're going to dive straight into the giveaway winners. Last week, I was supposed to announce a bunch of giveaway winners, 9 giveaway winners specifically, and I totally forgot to. So I apologize for that, but we're going to have them here this week. I'm going to go through them all. I have already replied to all 9 of you in comments, and I've reached out in comments. I said to watch this video, and if you miss it, well, we're going to give it a week, but then they will go ahead, probably 2 weeks. I'll be nice just because I was a week behind. I'll give it 2 weeks, but otherwise, same rules as usual for my giveaways. If these are not claimed, I'm going to go ahead and give them away over on Patreon or something like that. But for context, for those who missed it, a few weeks ago, I did a video covering, well, a bunch of my favorite content creators in the space, people I watch on a regular basis, and part of that, I was like, well, why not do a giveaway at the same time, share the love, spread the love, all that stuff, and I did so. So I gave away like 9 games to various content creators, and let's go through these one at a time. This timestamps as usual, by the way, timestamps to any relevant section in case you want to jump to wherever, but let's go ahead and start this off. Starting off with Professor Meg. Professor Meg's channel, we had Vagrant Song being given away, and Dakota Warner, you won. I already replied to you. Hopefully, oh, and for context, let me start off the bat. Do not reply to any comments in this video whatsoever from Board Game Co. at Telegram or any scam kind of situations. The only way to claim your prize, the only way to get any prize whatsoever is email me at alex@boardgameco.com, and I will give you a specific code word to reply to my comment that I replied to your comment. We'll figure it out. Or email me at alex@boardgameco.com to claim your prize. That is the only way. There's a lot of scams on YouTube nowadays, and I don't want any of you losing any money. So, once again, Professor Meg, Vagrant Song was the game being given away, and Dakota Warner, you were the winner. Over the Board Game Garden, we gave away Flourish and Seth Weissman. I already replied to you. You won that. On Table Knots, we had Tiny Epic Dungeons being given away, and Mac Knight, you won that. On Room and Board, we have Fun Fair being given away, and Sarah Duffton, you won that over there. We have Shelf Clutter, had Atlantis Rising Kickstarter version being given away, and Xylabao, like with an X, like Xylabao, well, got that one. Over on Foster the Meeple, we had Overboss being given away, with Alan Rissman winning Overboss. At Board Game Bollocks, we had Wasteland Express being given away to Charlie PL13. Thinker Themer had Paint the Roses being given away to a Chris Hollowell, or Hollowell maybe, and All You Can Board had Azul being given away to Luke Hoffman. I already replied to all of you, well, today, right before I filmed this video, and you can go ahead and email me at alex@boardgameco.com, and for anyone else, if you want, go ahead and check out those channels. I recommended the channels for a reason, because I like them, and the giveaway was just an extra tie to that. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into news. Starting off the bat with, well, board game news and stuff. Let's go ahead and pull this up over here. Starting off the bat with Chip Theory Games is going to have Burncycle coming back to, well, crowdfunding. Specifically Gamefound. Burncycle is going to be heading over to Gamefound July 19th. It's a reprint with some new content as well. A reprint and more corporation, a new corporation, just Burncycle. If you want to check out Burncycle, great game, phenomenal game, highly recommend it. But that's going to be coming over to Gamefound. From there, we have Crowdfunding Nerds. I did a podcast over with Crowdfunding Nerds, actually 2. There's going to be one coming up soon at some point. But Crowdfunding Nerds talking about the nature of BackerKit entering the crowdfunding space. If you missed it, I talked about it last week. But BackerKit is entering crowdfunding, similar to Gamefound, Kickstarter, all of that. And I had a podcast over with Crowdfunding Nerds that we talk about this stuff a lot, or they talk about the industry stuff, and I had a fun little discussion about them, about the nature of BackerKit. Do we believe in it? Do we think it'll overtake Gamefound, overtake Kickstarter? How do we think that's going to go? You can check that out. I think it's an entertaining listen, but I am obviously biased. From there, we had WSBG, the World Series of Board Gaming. This is something I'll be talking about here and there as we go through it. We're currently at 97 days. They got a countdown on the site. That's why I'm talking about it, because they sent me an email saying, hey, we've entered the 100-day countdown. If you can go ahead and talk about it, that'd be great. And I was like, I got your back. I'll go ahead and talk about it. The World Series of Board Gaming, in case you missed it, I've talked about it on the channel before. It's going to be a competition where you can win $25,000 to the best of the best, and then additional other prizes and things to other people as well throughout the event and stuff. It's basically a competition to see who's the best at board games, although obviously it's not that simple. It's basically a competition to see who is both lucky and good at a variety of board games, and walks away with $25,000. I imagine it'll be fun for the people who are involved, watching, participating, and I imagine it is not that interesting to a lot of you as well. Totally fine. I'll be talking about it here and there, but it will not be dominating the content. It's something I'm going to. It's something I'm going to be commenting on and being a presenter and being like, ooh, and they moves the robber to the tile and he just stole a wheat. Or something like that when they have Catan going on. We'll figure it all out. Anyways, from there we have Play the Game. I did a bit of a collaboration with Play the Game. Whenever I do collaborations, I try to shout it out. But basically on my channel, we had a cross thingy-majiggy where we talked about games we're looking forward to playing this summer. We had one over on my channel, you may have seen that already, and we had one over on their channel, you can check that out. I'll link to that down below, but that's Play the Game, previously Kidsplaining. Then we have Dead Reckoning. Now these next two I don't actually have links for right here, but hopefully I'll have links down below because hopefully I'll have links down below. Basically, they haven't happened yet. But this past Friday, which is my future and your past, I was over on AEG playing Tiny Towns along with, along with John D. Clare, and talking about the next Dead Reckoning Kickstarter, what's coming up, things happening. So it's a bit of a conversation around Dead Reckoning, and then me playing Tiny Towns with them. So I'll link to that down below when I actually have the link. Hopefully I will. And then speaking of which, we have another thing over on Friday, which is I'll be doing a Codenames competition with Tim Riel. He runs Codenames over on Twitch, and I'll be doing some sort of Codenames competition where he has a bunch of prior contestants who have played Codenames, jumping in and playing more Codenames to see who plays the most Codenames, the best Codenames. There's no $25,000 prize on this one, unfortunately, but it still should be fun. We'll take a look. I mean, it'll be fun for me. I'll be playing Codenames. It may or may not have been fun for you. You may have missed it, and it's Twitch, which means at this point you can watch the video, but it's not like live content, so I mean, it's too late now, but hopefully I'll have that. And that's going to be everything we have over here. That's all we're going to have, because really from here, the next category I usually jump into is news. That's not true. This was news. The next category I usually jump into is games. Just talking about what games are coming out or things like that. And this week, I just don't have anything. I'm sure there are stuff out there. Usually when it comes to this whole news and week in review, I don't overly seek things out. I just have my ear to the ground enough with enough Facebook conversations and board game groups and emails on publishers list. I usually have enough awareness of things happening that they just enter the conversation, but I don't have anything this week, so I'm sure games are coming out, but I got nothing in the games category to talk about it. Which means we can jump straight into the topic of the week, which is kind of a rehash of a prior video because it became a conversational piece in a bunch of Facebook threads. So, or groups, I should say, Facebook groups. Basically, a while ago, how long ago, I don't really know, maybe 3-4 months ago maybe, I did a video talking about why I won't back, what was it called again? It's why I won't back a game with bad art. That was the nature of the video, and that was, I mean, I did the video at the time, and I stand by every single thing I said in the video, but recently it became a conversation in a few Facebook groups. Part of this is because I brought it up with Crowdfunding Nerds. When I was with Crowdfunding Nerds, we brought up the conversation, and then it became a conversation in a bunch of Facebook groups about bad art and board games. And I want to make a very clear distinction off the bat. And before we get into the conversation, I want to make a very clear distinction because I think some people misunderstood what I was saying, and I just want to clarify what I was saying. I will always choose mechanics over everything. The board game is over everything. Mechanics over everything. I will take games with bad art over games with good art that are not as good every single time. In my video, I gave multiple examples of games that have bad art that I still choose and love and keep, and that is, in the video, it's hopefully clear. In the subsequent Facebook conversations, not necessarily, because not everyone necessarily watched the video. But to that end, one of the things that the context of the video is specifically around Kickstarter. It's specifically around the nature of I have a choice. Every single time I'm looking at any single Kickstarter, I have a choice to make. And it's a difficult choice, but it's a choice that has to be made every single time. I want this game, do I get it, do I not? Or maybe I don't want this game, do I get it, do I not? And when it comes to art and Kickstarter, art is one factor amongst many, and I'd rather a game with bad art that's good in mechanics, but how am I supposed to know that? That's the conversation of the video. How am I supposed to know that your game is good? You're asking me to overlook the one thing that you can actually show me right now. You can show me what the game looks like. That's something you can do. And if you didn't get that right, you're now asking me to trust that you put the time, effort, energy, and attention into the rest of the game, and you might have. But why should I believe that? Looks matter. Things that look pretty, that look appealing, that look compelling do matter. A good rule book, a clear Kickstarter page. You could have the best game in the world, but if it's hidden behind a Facebook page that doesn't tell me that it's good, what am I supposed to do about that? That was the nature of my conversation. About the nature of, it's not that I prioritize art over mechanics. Never. Never in a million years. Games with good art that aren't good are a waste of time and space. But they may have successfully sold me. Because I couldn't know if the game was good until I played it, but I could know if the game looked good before I played it. For me, it's mechanics first, always. And there was a subsequent conversation that was interesting, which is, what do you prefer, components or art? And my answer there kind of depends. That was a lot more iffy, but honestly, to me, it's kind of immaterial, because for me, it's mechanics over everything, the board game over everything, but art is a visual aspect that I can actually make a decision around and try to determine whether I want that thing or not. Now, part of the interesting thing is, part of this poll that was run, it was run in the Crowdfunding Nerds group, it was, would you back a game with bad art, or would you get a game with bad art? And there was like 88% of people said no, which is not what I actually would answer offhand. Depends. I have to look at the phrasing. If the phrasing was, would you back a game with bad art? The answer is no. Almost never. Unless I've played the game, or I know enough people that have played the game that I'm like, I should play that game because these 4 people whose opinions I really trust, they said I should play the game, and I'm going to go with what they said. That does happen. That absolutely does happen. But for the most part, bad art is one component of a board game, but it's often an essential component when it comes time to actually make a decision for yourself, a decision as to what you're going to get. And now more than ever, with costs going up, with 1 million Kickstarters vying for your time and attention and energy, and when they land, when they show up at your door, vying for your time, attention, and energy again. Well, I guess the first time they're vying for your time, attention, energy, and money, and then once you have them, they're vying for your time, attention, and energy, but the money's already gone. So you have to make decisions. I believe in this on a general basis. I believe in always finding filters as to why you should not get a game. There are so many good games to get. Look for the filters. And I've gotten pushback on this. Like, I'll say something like along these lines, and then I'll have like a publisher, a creator, a designer being like, why are you telling people not to get the games? And I'm not. I'm saying there's so many games out there, you have to make decisions. You have to filter on whatever filters you can find for yourself. Whether the game doesn't look compelling, whether the art's not good, whether the components aren't good, or even if it's just had a bad, issue with the company in the past, or whatever it is, any number of different things. Find the filters to save yourself the money, to back fewer games, to enjoy what you have. And that's the conversation around bad art. Which brings us to what I played. Going into the weekend review, which is going to cover what I played, as well as, let me see what's going on here. With what I played, let me just find this, give me a second. I actually logged my apps. I logged my plays, by the way. So for those who know, I log my plays on BG Stats. There's an update message apparently, and for the past month I've been so behind on things that I've logged all of them just in an email draft, and I just meant to catalog them over. This week I finally found the time. I finally found like 25 minutes to just slowly move them all over, and we're back in BG Stats. I'm very excited. I feel a drop more organized, which is very helpful because I've been all over the place the past 2 weeks. It's been very, very difficult. Anyways, so what do we have over here? Let's see where we are. Starting off the bat with, I guess I'll start with Wednesday. I don't know. I always don't know exactly what these picked up, but I'll start with Wednesday from where we left off, which is Zombicide Gear Up. I played Zombicide Gear Up. I played this over on Twitch. I'm doing a lot more Twitch content in general. Camp Co-op. There's a link down below, top of the video if you want to check that out. But Zombicide Gear Up, I played that this past week. I enjoyed it. I need to play it with more players. I only played it solo so far. I'm hoping to dive into it this week with, well, more players so I can get a 2-3 player experience out of it. I enjoy it without loving it so far, but I want to see how it changes with multiple players and with multiple plays. So I liked it. I liked it. Would I keep it right now? No, but I enjoyed it, and we'll see how multiple plays affects that experience. I don't know if I love cooperative roll-and-write games off the bat. I've only played 2 of them, and I didn't love either of them yet, although this one's better than the other one, but we'll see. Anyways, from there on Thursday I played a few games of Tsuro, diving into Tsuro online, nothing crazy, just to get a feel for it. I think I've played Tsuro back in the day, way back. I've known how to play Tsuro for who knows how long. But I don't think I ever dove into it. I went straight to Indigo. Indigo is my go-to game in terms of lines and connecting stuff and moving things around. I like Indigo. We still have Indigo. I've had it for years. Tsuro is one, on the other hand, that I played a few times. I think I'm good. I don't need to play it again. I'm happy to play it at a convention, out of this, out of that. I don't care. But it's not one I need to seek out for myself. Saturday we played Tidal Blades Banner Festival. I'll have a review coming up for that. Is that coming up today? It might be going up today. I don't think it's going up today. It's not. No, it's going up later. So Tidal Blades Banner Festival, I'll have a review of that going up soon. We'll talk about it more there. Then I also played Whirling Witchcraft. I believe that review is going up today. Whirling Witchcraft from AEG. Fun little game. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the review. Patchwork. Gotten a few plays of Patchwork. Patchwork is always a fun game. One that I haven't played in a bit, but it's always good to dive into it. I enjoy the general process of just 2-player polyomino game. It's one of the first polyomino games, if not the first polyomino game that I ever played, and I just really enjoy diving into it. It's fun, it's simple, it's quick, it's strategic, it gives you all the fun things you want out of a polyomino experience. It does not blow my mind, but it's reliably good. Then we have Stars of Icarios. I got a bunch of plays of Stars of Icarios. That's going to be a new game coming from OOOM, Out of Our Mind Games. That's just landing. It's their first big box game. They also have Mythland. They have another one coming up, but Stars of Icarios was fun. It's basically Gloomhaven in space. but not entirely. I'll have review content on it at some point. I need to play it a whole lot more. We got 3 games in, but like this is the kind of game where you need a lot more than 3 games in because it's scenario based. So I need probably like 15 games before I can review it, but it should be easy to dive into. It's fairly enjoyable. It's fairly enjoyable. I was pretty impressed with it. I just need to dive into it more. But that's Stars of Icarus. We have Resident Evil 3. I dove into Resident Evil 3 again. That's always a fun one as well. And then where am I placed? What's the date? Am I like 5 days behind again? No, I'm not 5 days behind. We're fine. We're fine. We're good. We're all good. We have Resident Evil 3. I got in a few plays of Gloomhaven. I got in 3 plays of Gloomhaven. Still playing that on Twitch. We're actually slightly shifted the schedule. Now we're playing Gloomhaven every Thursday. We might also be playing it every Tuesday. We'll have the schedule over on Camp Co-op on Twitch. If you're someone who follows Twitch with a schedule, we'll have the schedule. We'll do all the updating stuff. But still diving into Gloomhaven. Got a few plays of that in. And then Cthulhu Left May Die. Cthulhu Left May Die, which is always a blast. Always a lot of fun. Every single time I play Cthulhu Left May Die, I have a blast. And it's a good game. It's a really, really good game. But anyways, that's what I play, which brings us to the week in review, starting off with Saturday. Saturday, we had a few things. First of all, I had a video with Austin Harris from Ivy Games playing 3 abstracts. We basically played through Tak, Mythic Mischief, and Santorini. I just want to talk about some of my favorite abstracts. Those are my favorite abstracts. One of them is an Ivy Games game, but I want to show him the other games that I have that are competing for my favorite abstract. So we played through them in one video, and then the next video we talked about them, going over his experience, his opinion of them. I really like those games. I still think Tak takes the cake for my favorite abstract of all time. I think it's too elegant. It's too easy to table. But Mythic Mischief is absolutely fantastic. So all good things over there. On Sunday I had that kids planning video that I mentioned. The what are you going to play for like summer games and whatnot. Going over games we're interested in playing this summer. Summer is just a generic category of just things we're looking forward to tabling. Not that much different than when I sit here and say, hey, here are the games on the table that I plan on playing. This was just talking about them in more of a slightly longer into the future conversation. On Monday we had 2 Back or Not to Back. It was our first 2 Back or Not to Back in 3 weeks. It was nice to have it back. I've missed that series. I generally enjoyed it. It's like 2 Back or Not to Back, for context, is the first series I had on this channel. I started this 2.5 years ago, this channel, and I started having a regular series of covering Kickstarters. And then it started as regular but infrequent, like it would be like, oh, now it's Tuesday, and then suddenly a week and a half later we're going to do it, and then a week and a half later. And eventually it morphed into being every single Monday, 2 Back or Not to Back, and for 2 years now it's been a fairly consistent staple of the channel. Whenever I go like a week or 2 without it, I always feel like a little bit lost. Like the most consistent regular thing, although the weekend reviews, by the way, the weekend reviews are already a year and a half now too. Some of the series stick around, some of them I'm happy with, others I'm mixed on. There are some series I've done that I'm not confident, some of them are monthly, some of them are weekly. There's some things that I'm not as confident on. We'll always be looking to change it up, to mix it up, to adjust whatever. I'm getting onto a bit of a tangent. The point is, I like my 2 Back or Not to Back series, and it was good to have it back. It was good to go over it. A bunch of games to cover. Not a ton of things that I'm actually backing. A bunch of things I'm interested in, but I'm trying to have more shelf control in general, and even things that I'm interested in. Just the very nature of being a content creator means more and more I like games, but I like games a lot, but it gets harder and harder to keep up with everything. And so even games that I really like do leave the collection. So I'm trying to get ahead of the curve and being like, listen, I like you a lot. Do I like you enough that you'll hold up both against the old favorites as well as hold up against the new favorites? So it's getting harder and harder. It's a good thing. I mean, the games I rate are, if I rate a game well, it's because I like it. But there's only so many games you can actually have in your collection and actually play, which means harder and harder decisions the more games I play. That was Tuesday. That was Monday. That was not Tuesday. That was Monday. Tuesday we had a few reviews. We had a review for Dice Theme Park. Gave it a 3.5 out of 5. Really enjoyed it, but also not one that I feel the need to keep. I like the mechanics. I like the overall puzzle, but it got a little samey midway through the game. And so it's one that I think that, meaning through each game, it gets a little samey. You have your little puzzle, you have your little engine, and then you start doing the same thing every single round, and it doesn't change that much round to round. So it's a good game, a very solid puzzle, not one I need to keep. Then we have Oltree. It was a 3.5 out of 5 as well. I really like Oltree. I plan on finishing through the various chronicles that they have there. And then the real question for me is, do I keep it long enough to get the expansion or not? That's the question I have, because I want the expansion, but the expansion's not here yet. Do I hold on to it for said hypothetical expansion? I don't know. And then lastly, on Tuesday, we had a review for Wormholes. Wormholes from AEG. I gave that one a 3 out of 5. It was a good game. I had fun with it, but I also was not overly compelled. Both Oltree and Dice Theme Park are games that there's a degree of sadness that I won't play them again once they're gone. Not so with Wormholes. And for me, by the way, that's usually the difference between a 3 and a 3.5, is usually that element of, am I slightly sad that I won't get to experience you, but I just have to choose better games. And so that's the difference. Wormholes was a 3. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a nice little puzzle, but if I never play it again, which I won't at this point, I just don't feel that bad about it. And then Wednesday. Wednesday was a live Q&A as usual. Still aiming for those 10 o'clock every morning live Q&As. We'll see. I might start alternating every other week. It's fairly hard to do live content on a regular basis. I'm doing this with Twitch already, and I'm doing it on the channel, and I'm doing like 3 videos a day on average across Crack & Co. and Board Game Co. and Patreon and all those things. And so I don't know what I'm doing for right now. As of right now, we're still doing live content every week Wednesday, and we had a Q&A this past week. It's possible I mix it up. It's possible I shift it up. I don't know. You'll find out. And then later on Tuesday, we had a recap of Origins. I had a lot of fun Origins. I filmed it, and I filmed parts of it, and then I did a little recap at the end. It's basically me just having fun with other people that I like, and a few games are in there as well. We talk about Empire's End. I think we talk about Cloudspire. We talk about a variety of small things mixed into the conversation. It's really just about the fun for me. It's about the experience and getting to hang out with people that I like, or getting to meet new people that I will hopefully proceed to like in the future. And then Thursday was a conversation with James Hudson. This is one that I was supposed to do last week, and it ended up getting pushed off. But it's Let's Make Them in the USA. It's a conversation about making board games in the USA, why we don't, what we should do, all that stuff. It's an interesting conversation. If you're one of those people who are like, hey, freight's so expensive, why don't we just make the games here? It's a worthwhile conversation to listen to. And then later on Thursday, there's an Endless Winter unboxing. An unboxing of Endless Winter, which is a game that I've been waiting for a while. Honestly, this is a bit offensive. Endless Winter should be on this table. I should be playing through Endless Winter this week. There's a few games that honestly, a few things. I'm gonna cover these games at the end, and I'm gonna proxy in 2 things. We'll talk about it. Anyways, Endless Winter. I did an unboxing of Endless Winter on Thursday. You can check that out. As usual, it's an unboxing and rambling, so it's partially about Endless Winter, partially about whatever crosses my mind. And then Friday, that was Thursday. Friday we have a board game upgrades video. This is a once a month series. This is a series that I'm trying to figure out what to do with it, because I've become less interested in this series as I've done it, but I've also kept doing it because there's a channel sponsor attached to it. I still enjoy it, I still have fun with it, but trying to do it consistently every month it's gone from, hey, I love doing this, to, hey, I'm trying to find things to do, which at that point the content feels less natural to me. I think I have to sunset the series. I think I do. I need to think about it. I just don't like doing content I don't like doing content that feels forced. I like doing content. I like talking about things that feels natural to me. I like having a conversation or reviewing a game or a top 10 list of something I want to do. Feeling like I'm forcing myself to do it it loses some of the magic, at least for me. I don't know if it does for you, but for me it does. So we'll figure it out. This is a weird tangent. I wasn't planning on talking about this during the video, but we'll see. Anyways, that was Friday, board game upgrades. Still a fun video in my opinion, but I need to figure it out for the future. And then Saturday, today, that brings us to today. Today we have 2 reviews going up. We have a review for Whirling Witchcraft from AEG, and then a review for Xayah. A review from Xayah, Legends of a Drift System from Far Off Games. I believe that's the name of the company. Which brings us to the schedule next week. Next week, I don't really do a full schedule. I just talk about a few things coming out. We'll have a review for Wild Serengeti. We have a review for, that's not true, we have an unboxing of Massive Darkness All In. And then we have upcoming Kickstarters for July. Sounds right. Upcoming Kickstarters for July will be coming next week as well. So we'll have those 3 popping up next week. You can check those out at your leisure. Upcoming Kickstarters for July is next week? I guess so. That makes sense. Timeline-wise, that does make sense. Which brings us to the games on the table. Games on the table, we have a few. Like I said already, hope to play more Zombicide. Gear Up. I just want to give it more tries and more player counts before I review it. And then we have Quest for El Dorado. This is the new version. I would love to dive into this one just because I got the new version with art from Vincenta Trait, the international version. Would love to table this one. We have Almanac the Crystal Peaks. This is the new version of Almanac. This is the newer one, whatever it is. That should be arriving soon to people. Hope to be playing this one shortly. And then we have Eternal Palace from Alley Cat Games. Eternal Palace may have to be subbed out though. I don't know. Or even Almanac, or even Quest for El Dorado. This one, Zombicide Gear Up, is going to be an easy one to play. Some of these might be subbed out because, honestly, 2 other games I forgot to talk about are going to be Endless Winter. I desperately want to play Endless Winter, and I hope I get a table this week. And then also Cloudspire. I hope to be playing Cloudspire. I learned it over at Origins, and I want to dive in before my knowledge is completely gone from my mind. And so that is everything going on there. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and call this a wrap. I'm going to be heading over to Twitch shortly to stream something, so I need to get everything all cleaned up, put away, and all of that. And until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I appreciate you being here, and as always, have a good one.